As I recall, as a child, I remember going to Mbeya to visit my grandparents. And whenever my mom had to call me, I would be playing outside and someone would have to run outside and come and get me. And then they would actually hang up because it was very expensive. It was like almost making an international call. And then the operator would call and say, "Hey, Mrs. Wilmore would like to speak to you. We'll call back in 5 minutes." And that was the era that I grew up. But today you walk around with your phone in your pocket. And on that phone, you can do what I used to do on my computer multiplied by 1,000. In my opinion, Africa Connect comes at an ample time in Tanzania, but not just in Tanzania, in Africa in general. And this is important because we seem to, as Africans, we seem to have already built enough physical infrastructure. The biggest problem that I see right now is the issue of content. If we look at what we see in terms of the internet, we look at opportunities such as Netflix. Netflix in Africa has actually overtaken DSTV. And what has enabled that? The rollout of things like 3G, 4G, and fiber networks in Africa. So that alone is an indicator that people who are in the film industries, things like the Bagamoyo School of Arts, has a massive opportunity now, more than before, to grow that industry, be it music or film. In addition to that, we're seeing more and more need with COVID. We see more and more need for kids to school from home. Now, once these kids experience this at school, the next step will be actually, how do they get that to the home? So when we talk about success stories, one of the biggest success stories in Africa is what Vodacom and its group has been able to do in terms of getting millions of people in a very short time. And that is a massive opportunity for the youth and for innovators in Africa and in Tanzania especially, because Tanzania is known as the innovative market, which makes it very interesting. Now, with that interest needs to come passion, okay? So now, as a parent, I'm looking at it and saying, wait a minute, my child doesn't have to be a lawyer. They can be a content creator. So then the next part is, how do we create an ecosystem that is, one, resilient, but two, economically profitable within Tanzania for people to create content, to create apps? And that's where I see the Vodacom Accelerator playing a large role in terms of beefing up the ecosystem, what we call Silicon Dar, where Vodacom headquarters sits. And that innovation is not going to come from Europe. It's not going to come from Asia. It has to come from within, because those are Africa's problems. So the future trends that I see in Africa are actually thorns that are being removed to people who did not have the advisory services that were needed for them to be wealthy or to create wealth within their own communities. And this is very important because in the near future, there will be a merger between banks, telcos, and other financial services such as Social Security, insurance, and etc. We're already seeing that, but it is not yet gelled together the way it should gel. One of the most important aspects of technology is that it doesn't exist on its own. A lot of people ask me or tell me, you're in technology, da da da. It's like, no, but technology is just an enabler. So you need the appropriate technology for the appropriate problem, and this can only be achieved through partnerships, okay? The solution that is given to a school is very different than what is given to a government institution, or is very different from a corporate institution. So we have to be very cognizant about the fact that technology has its limitations, but those limitations and new innovations only come about when someone has an eye within a certain industry, within a specific industry, and then they innovate around that.